after we answer an objection, we should always continue moving forward, right? So if he hits me with an objection, then I want to give him a response that eases that objection, but then move the next step forward. So if he asks me, he says, well, oh, is this loan assumable? Well, yeah, absolutely. Let me go and find out first. Let me check on your loan file. I'm gonna give you a call back, right? And then you gather your thoughts. You find out it's not assumable, but we can refinance. We can do this. We can do that. Now it's just a matter of how you relay the information, right? Do we want to call and basically set up, frame it, and say, hey, you can't do that, but you can do this, that? Because the only thing he heard was you can't do that.
Connected to Sales Remastered.
So cool, man. I appreciate you letting me record this.
Sure.
So these coaching sessions are rather helpful, right?
Yeah.
Because you can have like the recording to go back on and refer to later on and kind of pick up what sometimes we miss. You know what I mean? I've had that happen to me a few times where I'm like, damn, what was he saying about this one thing? You know, and there's just no way to do it outside of hitting him up and say, hey, can you explain that to me again? But then it loses its gist, you know, like when you have to go through it again. So what we're going to do is we're going to analyze kind of the activities and actions that were done last week that led up to today, right? Okay. And so what was good is that we had the activity of getting them locked, right? Like we were taking the actions and the steps to make the connections and then bring them to pricing. Yeah. Right? So I would say from, what was it, like Monday through Wednesday, there was some activity going in with at least price requests, and then it kind of fell off on Thursday. Mm-hmm. And then, you know, of course, it's to be determined today. Mm-hmm. And so, and that's natural because what's happening is when we're generating the new business, we can kind of like, you know, get one and then go get another, right? Especially with the dub system that we have on the team. It's like, okay, well, that's just one. You know, now I got to go find another. And that's the whole point. That's the whole motive. But at the same time, I think it's important to put in the right pieces or the right steps to confidently say, hey, okay, now I can go get another one, right? Because sometimes it's not properly set up. Yeah. And what happens is we'll get so much traction and we'll feel like we're generating the business. But because a few steps were not completed in the first setup, that they end up falling out or they're not replying, right? Yeah. And we have kind of like these blinders on and saying, no, I got to move forward. I got to go to another one. So you've demonstrated that. You know, I see the effort. Now it's about analyzing that first phase because you know you've already shown that you could bring in the curiosity to get them to pricing and then unlocking them. Okay. Yeah. So I'm going to ask that you be absolutely open with me. Don't think that there's a wrong answer of how you got up to the lock because I really want to kind of experience it from the prospect's point of view. Okay. Does that make sense? And I think that's something that we should always do is really kind of experience it from their view. Yeah. And say, well, what kind of decision would I personally make? You know? Mm-hmm. And then we can learn a lot from that. Cool. Yeah, let's do it.
So that one was a past client, right? So he called in. It came to mind because the lead was in my name. It was a departed agent, right? Okay. So he called in and was basically like, hey, dude, I need to know if my loan is assumable, right? So, okay. And before saying yes or no, I'm like, no problem, I can help you out with that. Let me pull up the files, get the information. So I said, hey, I just want to know, you know, I'll double check that for you, but, you know, usually people don't really ask that specifically what, you know, the detail of their loan, what's going on that's making you want to find out if it's assumable. And he's like, well, I'm getting a divorce, you know? I'm like, okay, I absolutely understand. So going through it, so I said, let me call you back in a few minutes. I'm pulling the information up. I'll call you back in like 15 minutes. Is that fine? Because he was busy at the time. So I called him back. I said, hey, you know, I did double check. You know, the loan is not assumable. Most loans really aren't assumable unless it's a VA loan. So are you a veteran by chance? No, I'm not. So he's like, you know what, whatever. You guys aren't assumable. I'm going to go find somebody else. I'm pissed off, right? So he hung up on me. So I'm like, okay. So I kept in contact with him. I emailed him. I said, hey, you know, it seems like you're kind of upset that the loan wasn't assumable. I can see why, but here's benefits with working with us. I can help you get this taken care of, get your wife off within a few weeks. And what overall the benefit, like, hey, we have complimentary services, you know, as far as concessions to closing costs. I hate for you to go with somebody else, start brand new, have a bad experience, and pay $3 or $4 in broker fees, you know. So let's see what we can do for you. So he gave me permission to run credit, right, and all that stuff. So it went well. And so when I called him back, I said, hey, you know, I got some really good news for you, and I kind of framed it. hey, I know, the reason why we're doing this is because the wife has to come off. You have to get this done. You have to get this done quickly. We can get it done within a few weeks. We already have all your information, minimal documentation. And I said, I know also you said closing costs was a concern for you getting this done. Is that still correct? Yeah. I said, well, here's what we can do for you because we already hold your file. So I went over, hey, it's an appraisal waiver. Hey, we have such an established relationship with Fannie Mae. We don't even need to do an appraisal. So half the battle's already done there. And so because of that, I can even drop your PMI. You're paying whatever, $90 a month, right? So benefit. Hey, your payment's actually going to be lower than what you're paying now. So how does that sound so far? That sounds great. What's the rate? So no problem. It's 4.75, and he's at 4.375. So I said 4.75, but the monthly payment is dropping. You're dropping your PMI, no appraisal, and we're waiving all the fees.
Mm-hmm.
That sounds great. Okay, perfect. So he said, what's the next step? So okay, I need this documentation. And he told me he was going to shop me. So I said, the last thing I said to, hey, I want you to know also, I know you've kind of been looking around what other offers there are. If you happen to get an offer that you think is better, just shoot it over to me. We can match or beat any offer. But I find it very unlikely that they're going to be able to offer you with no appraisal and be able to waive all the fees like we're doing for you. Is that fair enough? Yeah, it sounds great. And then the next day, hey, Jeremiah, I found another offer. Thank you very much. Bye. I'm just like, what the heck?
Okay. So first off, did he say his divorce was finalized?
So it's going through it, but he said that the agreement was made that he's taking over the house. So he said,
was it finalized?
She's already signed the quitclaim deed. So I mean, as far as the home needing to be her taken off, that's been finalized.
So it's recorded with the court?
He hasn't recorded it yet.
Okay.
It's in the process of getting recorded, but she's already signed the quitclaim deed.
Okay.
Yeah.
So anytime you hear the word divorce, right, you have to look at it again through their eyes. So empathy is really the key takeaway. Is because you did it right because you're like, hey, you need to get her off the house, right? Because that's siding with him.
Yep.
He's like, yeah, I do need to get him off the house, right? But more importantly, like when you hear the word divorce, the very first question you got to say is, when will it be recorded, right? Because I've gone through situations where they said, yeah, it's already done, and then it literally took 3 months to record, right? It just depends on the county, depends on the resources, it just depends on the location. And then say, the reason why is because if you go over numbers with him right now, and you sell him right now, but we can't get that recorded for another 2 months, then it's going to expire, and then we just got an anchor on us, right?
I didn't know that. Okay,
right.
So we can record it pretty quickly. So.
Right, and then second, what I noticed is that when you called him back and told him no, then that kind of flared him up, right? And I'm not saying that that's the reason why he didn't move, but at the same time, it caused 2 or 3 days, right, back and forth communication just to get to where it could have been initially on the call back.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
How would you
So instead of saying, hey, it's not assumable, what I would have done is give him a call back and say, hey, quick question, because it sounds like, if it's not assumable, then who's going to refinance? It's going to be him or her?
Him.
Okay, so then I start painting the picture of selling him the benefit first and saying, hey, you know what, since your loan is with us, that it's going to move very fast, so that she's not going to be on the title for long. We're going to get her, we're going to remove her off, so that way she's not tied to this property at all anymore very fast. Here's the thing is, I'm trying to get a request to waive the appraisal, but I'm going to need documents first. I'll go over that if necessary. Here's the thing is that what I can do is ultimately, you may have received a notification, but we keep you alerted anytime any developments come up where we can improve your term. We sent that out, we never got a response back from you. But ultimately what it entailed was that we can help you and then start going over the benefits of the refi. Right? We can help, we're basically notifying you because we can help you remove the mortgage insurance, blah, 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 whatever you priced up for him, right?
Yeah.
And then get him bought into that. So regardless of that though, the loan's already with us. So we don't need a lot of documentation. Again, I'm trying to ask for a waiver on the appraisal, so this should be done probably in the next 3 weeks. Would that be all right with you? So yeah, let's do this right away. Okay, got it. I need these documents. And so ultimately you get him bought in, not telling him the loan is not assumable. Right? Because the loan is assumable, ultimately her name is still on the loan, right? So regardless, the note is with both of their names. So basically he was just asking the wrong question, right? Where they had a third party who was not on the loan that wants to come in and take over the home. That's like assuming the loan. Like they're gonna sell the loan rate. Right, like some loans are assumable where if they sell it, the buyers can take over the loan because it's a lower rate, lower payment. It's assumable.
Yeah.
and that's most popular with like veteran loans or VA loans, right?
Yeah.
And so, but ultimately, what the only thing that took out was telling him no, it's not, because that's ultimately what he wanted, right?
Yeah.
So this guy's going through court. You have to imagine he's going through court like, no, fuck that, I want this, I want that, and then constantly being told no from the attorney and the judge, and then now us.
Yeah.
No, it's not that way. Right?
Yeah.
Like, fuck this, I'm mad.
That's what it was.
Everyone's telling him no. And so finally, if I have a chance to be the only dude on his side, when he feels like the attorneys are against him, the judge is against him, and I'm going to ease him and say, hey man, I work with a lot of homeowners who went through this process. I know the ins and outs. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make sure that number one, you even have a bridge across, right? And so that you know what moves to make as fast as possible. Right, and so here's the thing: is that I'm gonna need a few items from you. I'm gonna email you, blah blah, get it in motion. Like for example, I shared a video one about how I was sold on a car. I think I told you guys, right?
Yeah.
So after the objection, like after the rebuttal came, we always, after we answer an objection, we should always continue moving forward, right? So if he hits me with an objection, then I want to give him a response that eases that objection, but then move the next step forward. So if he asks me, he says, well, is this loan assumable? Well, yeah, absolutely. Let me go and find out first. Let me check on your loan file. I'm going to give you a call back, right? And then you gather your thoughts. You find out it's not assumable, but we can refinance. We can do this. We can do that. Now it's just a matter of how you relay the information, right? Do we want to call and basically set up, frame it and say, hey, you can't do that, but you can do this, that? Because the only thing he heard was you can't do that.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah, so come in with the solutions, get him bought in, and then tell him, oh yeah, no, it's not an assumable loan.
Okay.
Because he already has the answers. He's like, okay, well, fuck it. We already got the process in place. Just get her off the loan.
Yeah.
Make sense?
Yeah. Cool.
Cool, dude.
Thanks,
Any other questions?
I think that's it for now. It's a lot of information.
Yeah, a lot of information, right?
Yeah.
I appreciate you, dude.
Yeah,
Thanks
thank
for
you.
letting me record.
Appreciate you always coaching me.
Of course, bro.